everybody, to the first episode of the Morning Dose.
Welcome.
Yes, my name is Mike Oulton. I am a microdosing coach, and over here across from me is my oldest friend on the planet.
Yeah, boy.
Dude, you're my oldest friend on the planet. That's how old we are.
High school. Yeah.
When you start getting to an age where you can say that's my oldest friend on the planet, it means you're old, right? His name is Dr. James Coulter, and he is across from me. And we are two guys who decided to start this podcast a while ago. We've been heavily entrenched in the psilocybin microdosing, macrodosing world that exists.
Heavily.
Right. Here in Vancouver. We're from Vancouver, British Columbia. We're island boys. We came from the island of Victoria on Vancouver Island.
Represent.
Yeah, well, shout out to everybody in Victoria. And, we thought we'd start this first episode today just kind of talking about ourselves and talking about how microdosing changed our lives.
Yeah, so microdosing, I actually got into it thanks to Mike, and I started it. I didn't feel too much my first microdose. Didn't feel anything at all, except for the niacin that was in the blend.
Now let's give people some context though about what it was that was happening in your life at that time. Like, you're a 46-year-old man.
46, yeah.
And at that point in your life, women don't know about it, young guys don't know about it, old men would talk about it, and there's a section in your life around 40 where we always fall apart.
Yes.
Every single guy does it. Every guy who's will work himself to a point where it's almost like a midlife crisis, we think.
When we're 40, we start getting the love handles, the muffin top. Yeah. It's harder to keep that gut in. Yeah. The six-pack is non-existent.
It's a keg.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a down point in your life and in our lives when that happens. And, a lot of guys, I would say high, because everyone I've talked to who's 40 has gone through it. And it's really a dark time.
For some people it is.
It was for me, and I know it was for you.
Yeah.
And, we both turned to medication at that point. And we both went to a doctor, and the doctor said freely, here, take these.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to pay for mine.
No.
Right? It was scary. I walked into a free clinic, and I walked out with antidepressants. Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
And that's a real story for a lot of men. A lot of men. So you were dark, and at that point, what attracted you, besides me telling you about it, when you researched, what attracted you to microdosing and to using psilocybin?
What attracted me to it is all the research that I've been reading online about how it helps with cases of depression, with anxiety, with alcoholism. I'm also a drug addict. I was a drug addict for many years. Haven't used for hard drugs for a while, but I'm still an addict for life. And the psilocybin it's sort of like puts you back in your chair and lets you see the whole picture.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, when you first did it, obviously it didn't work very well for you.
Well, I think if you're microdosing when you first do it, you're doing such a micro dose, you shouldn't really feel it. You shouldn't feel anything unless it's, about a gram of mushrooms. And then you feel good, that smile appears on your face, you feel a little lighter. But the microdoses that I was doing was 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams every second day. And it's not enough that I felt it. I started really feeling the effects of microdose when it started building up in my system. The consistency of doing it 5 days per week.
Yeah.
The consistency of doing it 3 months straight.
Yeah.
After the first time I really felt microdosing, Mike, I was driving in the car. And I was thinking about, I have my wife, she's just come from Ukraine. We're trying to get the permanent residency. Just a lot of things going on upstairs. And just for a second, I felt light. I felt, everything was still there. All my problems were there, but it was like I was pulled back a little bit, and I could see everything more clearly, and sort of let everything register.
Yeah.
And 6 months after microdosing, I started to feel memories coming back. You know, I smoke marijuana daily, and
Who doesn't?
you know, it's I forget things once in a while, but doing the microdose after, my 6 months of doing it, I really felt my memory coming back.
Yeah.
I really felt my organizational skills, and putting things together.
Yeah, just be more organized and be more focused, right? Like
Focus is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one, and that was a real big issue for me, and it still is. Like, we're not going to come on this podcast and lie. Like, we're going to come on this podcast and tell people the truth about who we are,
yeah.
and really hope that we can connect with people who are going through the same thing, especially guys, but girls too, whoever. But I'm still at that point where I need to do maintenance with microdosing. So truth be told, what I do is I microdose maybe 4 times a year for about a month at a time. So every 3 months or so, I'll microdose for a month. And then I don't really do it. I don't know if that's good or not, but I like to. My thought is that I don't want my brain to depend on microdosing to be happy or to be functional or to be motivated. I want microdosing to do what it's supposed to do, and that's fix me.
Get you out of that rut.
Get you out of that rut. And then as you're getting out of that rut, you develop the skills and the coping mechanisms to deal with the shit that has been plaguing you, right? What people don't understand about microdosing, I mean, what I used to describe it as is that Limitless movie with Bradley Cooper.
Yep.
Right? Remember back in the day when we had the Limitless stuff? Remember that stuff way back?
Okay.
Like maybe 5-6 years ago, and it was the Elytra or whatever, or Elytra. I can't remember. It was all over the place, and it made your brain go, and you were like, oh yeah, you felt really smart and really accurate, right?
That, yeah.
So that was kind of the precursor to the mushrooms. That if I can describe it to people, like that Limitless movie with Bradley Cooper, he gets smarter and he gets like really good looking and he gets super sexy, all because of the pill, right?
The microdosing ain't that fast.
It isn't that fast.
No.
But that's the effect that you get from microdosing.
Similar,
on a regular
yes,
basis.
but on a
lower level.
Lower level. You definitely notice it.
Yeah,
you definitely notice it. Like after 3-4 months of consistently doing it, you definitely notice it.
Yeah, and you notice, and it doesn't make you super sexy. It doesn't make you really smart, and won't make you super rich. But what it does is it starts to turn you. It starts to teach you who you truly are as a human being.
It opens your mind.
It opens you up to being honest with yourself and saying, this is who I truly am. I need to pursue this, right? I've known people who've done the hero dose and then microdosing and left their husbands. And, I haven't run into the husbands ever, on Facebook or in the street, angry guys who gave their wives drugs and they left them, they divorced them.
Yeah.
Thank God. But what it did is it told people about what they needed to have in their life to truly be happy, right? And I think that's what we found, you and I.
Truth, yeah.
You found truth and happiness. I mean, you got married, you got a kid. All those things weren't possible for you 10 years ago.
No, it wasn't. And what microdosing did is it helped me organize everything in my head. If you think about it like, a kid's room should be usually all messy. Well, my brain's the same. It's pretty messy up there, and microdosing just helped me organize it, help me see everything, like categorize everything, put everything on different levels.
Yeah. What's your favorite way to microdose? Do you like the biomass in the capsule, just keep it super easy, or have you tried any other ways?
There's a couple ways. I've tried just the capsules. I've done a couple of the capsules with the blends in them. Personally, I mean, I just, it's psilocybin, don't buff it with anything, so I like it pure. Right? I like it pure. The capsules, that's how I like to do it, for sure. There's also infused gummies that I've done, and these are absolutely tasty.
Now, see, everybody's getting used to these gummies and stuff because of the weed industry, right? The weed guys are coming out with the edibles.
They paved the way definitely
Yeah.
for the mushrooms, but if you're thinking about marijuana or the marijuana industry like the mushroom industry, you're wrong. It's completely different.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the marijuana industry is mostly recreational. And the mushroom industry, if you're microdosing, that is medical.
Yeah, and see, that's a kind of another issue that people talk about, right? Is, because there's a great business downtown that deals with it medically. That's a medical spot, right?
Yep. Two of them.
Two of them.
Yeah, 2 dispensaries in Vancouver.
And I mean, I think that's where I'm in line with, because I've done mushrooms at a macro level. I've done, and it's no lie, people, and I don't advise you to do this. And I also should advise anybody listening or watching, always consult with your physician before you get into microdosing. If you have a physician that will do that for you, please consult with them. It's very important that you don't mix sometimes with meds. There's a lot of things that can happen if you're mixing microdosing
100%.
with meds,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it'll block it out, won't even work. Sometimes you'll take you on give you that serotonin syndrome, right? Where you have too much serotonin, and it's really bad. It's scary. You won't die from it generally. I mean, I think like 1% of people die from it.
I don't think anyone's
10%
ever
or
died
something.
from mushrooms.
No, but from mixing meds and stuff, like mixing
yeah.
mixing medication and psychedelics and shit like that. It's not good, man. Like if you're on high doses of meds, don't put other things on top of it. You need to get off it or whatever, right? But we're not doctors. We're just microdose coaches, people who have a lot of experience helping people do this, right? And so we know that what we're talking about, it's hard to prove that because medical doctors will say otherwise.
Well,
right?
I mean, we both have a pretty colorful background, giving us both trauma.
Yeah.
We've both done drugs in our life a fair bit. We both, left reality
Oh, yeah.
on our drug trips.
Big time.
And we've both been microdosing for quite a while now. So, I have my background is in addiction and mental health. I've been working in mental health for the last 11 years. So,
Yeah, you do.
and before that, drug and alcohol counseling, helping people. I'm just here to, help people, spread the word. There's so many good uses for microdosing, and I just I wish more people would open their minds to it.
Yeah, it's true, and I think they are. This is the best part. And then when people come forward and speak the truth, people follow and they start to experiment. Because, like, ladies and gentlemen, the worst thing you can do is put something into your body that is not biological or human consumption. Like we take pills like no problem, and you think it's easy. It's just a pill. But you don't realize the accumulation of, bad shit that will happen to you when you take it on a daily basis. You don't understand. It gets into your brain and controls you, man. Numbs you.
What would you guys think? We got
Meds are the worst.
1 gram of organic mushrooms dried here.
Much different.
Would you rather take an Ativan or 1 gram of dried mushrooms? A lot of people are afraid. Oh, well, the 1 gram is going to make me trip out and stuff, but it's
fixing
part
your
of the
brain.
therapy.
Yeah.
It's part of the therapy.
It is. It's fixing your brain. And I think throughout this podcast, we'll bring people on to talk, some experts. We have a doctor, we have some other experts from the city, and people who can really talk about
people that are sort of engulfed in the psilocybin movement and the mushroom movement, we will have on the show.
They will be surprised, I think. Some of the people I think will be able to get on here.
Yeah, we're going to have some mushroom growers on here, so
and maybe some politicians
that will, explain the process of growing. I know myself that it's pretty tough to grow mushrooms. It's a lot harder than growing marijuana, for sure.
So I think maybe in episode 2, let's go right to the basis. Let's talk to people about the manufacturing of it. Tell them where it was grown, how it's come to, the history of it a little bit, right? And then, we'll blast off and get into some other stuff, right? But Well, everybody, thanks for joining us on our first intro episode. We're going to go to episode number 2. You can follow us along right there. You can go to any of the social media that we have, and microdosebc.net is the website.
Instagram, we got My Mushroom Experience.
That's on Instagram. And also on Instagram, you can go to Microdose BC and ask any of our guys on there. If you have any questions on there, trust me, you're going to get the straight truth. All right? No sales, just all honesty, man. That's what we want.
Truth, that's what we're here for.
That's it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on our first episode. We'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
Until then, always take your dose in the morning.
Yeah.
This is Mike and James with the Morning Dose Podcast.
And we're out.